investigation. It needs to come out.
I want to go to the role of a judge now, Judge. He was then just Jay Bybee, who signed off on 2 of the torture memos released last month by President Obama. He signed the memos when he was Assistant Attorney General at the Office of Legal Counsel. 6 months later, he breezed through his confirmation hearing for his appointment to the Federal Appeals Court, and Congress voted him to a lifetime on the bench. This is excerpts of a piece by David Murdoch for the American News Project that looks into this very question using interviews with attorney Scott Horton and Yale University law professor Bruce Ackerman.
Without his authorization, the members of the CIA may well not have done it at all. Or if they had, they would be plainly subject to criminal responsibility today. So these memos are at the absolute center of the torture activities of the United States government. This is not a minor matter. This is the foundation of our activities. Without these memos, the entire exercise of torture probably would not have taken place.
Well, if we go back and check this against the timeline, we see these memoranda, issued at the beginning of August, prepared, perhaps a few weeks before that. This stacks up with the time when Jay Bybee is in transit from the OLC to his judicial position. Congress is reviewing his candidacy, and he's going through the committee process with the Senate Judiciary Committee. No one is aware, as far as I can see, certainly no one on the Senate Judiciary staff, nor members of the Senate Judiciary Committee are aware of this entire controversy or aware of these memos.
So there was no critical questioning at all at the hearing room, and that does not normally happen.
Mr. Bybee, I've seen a lot of people around here and a lot of judges, and I don't know of anybody who has any more qualifications or any greater ability in the law than you have. And that's counting some pretty exceptional people. And I think that's one reason why this particular hearing has not been as much an ordeal as some of the ones others have had.
Had the Senate known about these memos, there's simply no way Bybee ever would have been confirmed as a federal judge to begin with.
But I'm hopeful that in your case and the case of many, many others, that we can get you through, get you on the bench, and get you doing your life's work, which is really what that will be, in the best interest of our country. And I have absolutely no doubt that your efforts will be in the best interest of our country.
Had all of this been out on the record, it's very clear he wouldn't have been confirmed. So that means he secured his confirmation to the bench through stealth.
Judge Bybee is going to exercise an important position of power in the United States government for the next 25 years. The question is, shall we remove him from the future exercise of power? And to have someone who is violated the war crime statute, let's say he did. If he did, then to interpret the laws of the United States and to tell other people that they should go to jail. Well, this is quite something.
There may be very good reasons why a prosecutor, in the end of the day, would decide not to indict Jay Bybee and take him to trial. I can imagine, I can easily understand these considerations. But that someone like this would be sitting as a federal judge at the highest level court below the Supreme Court, that's outrageous. I think also there's an obvious solution to this dilemma, and that solution would be for Jay Bybee to resign.
That's attorney Scott Horton. Before that, Yale University law professor Bruce Ackerman congratulating Jay Bybee in the Senate hearing was Orrin Hatch, the senator from Utah. Philipe Sands.
I think it's a story that is picked up outside the United States, that a man who authorized torture, who signed 2 memos, is sitting on one of the highest courts of the United States, sends a shocking signal around the world. I think it's an affront to the idea that the United States is committed to the rule of law. The United States is going around the world telling people to clean up their judicial appointment systems, attacking, often very justifiably, the composition of international tribunals for not having the right sort of people as judges. And yet on the Ninth Circuit, we have a man who signed off on waterboarding and said it was fine and could be used. I think the sooner there is a proper inquiry as to the circumstances in which he obtained his position. And of course, it's important to remember that at the date he went through his hearings, the memos had not yet appeared. So the members of the Judiciary Committee were not aware of what he had done, and he did not offer it up. And that, of course, raises certain questions as to whether or not he misled the Judiciary Committee.
Another headline is the military tribunals, Jane Mayer, and President Obama's reversal on the military tribunals. What will happen now?
Well, you know, they haven't given us all the details yet of what these tribunals will involve. I mean, and so, you know, what President Obama has basically said is that he would restore the rule of law and due process for all the detainees in the war on terror, and we will see whether or not military tribunals can live up to that.
And this latest headline, which is the Congress saying "not in my backyard" for
the ultimate
will
not in my
fund
backyard.
Guantanamo closing.
Nobody wants to have any of the Guantanamo prisoners anywhere in their state, in this entire country, it seems. And the Democrats have really just fled from Obama on this. And
who led the charge against Obama? Harry Reid, for example.
Really, I mean, they've criticized the Bush administration for keeping Guantanamo open, and now they are running away from trying to close it. So it's not exactly a profile in courage. I think, you know, to some extent, you can understand that these prisoners have been so dehumanized in the way they've been described. I mean, we had one top military official from the Bush administration describe them as being able to chew through hydraulic cables to bring down planes, and you know, they've been described as absolute monsters. And the truth is, though, that the United States prison system has many monsters in it. It has, you know, the worst, some very scary convicted terrorists, including the shoe bomber, Richard Reid. It's got the people that tried to blow up the World Trade Center the first time. And I don't know...
The Unabomber.
The Unabomber. It's, you know, it had Timothy McVeigh. I mean, there are many people in maximum security prisons in the United States who are being safely housed in those maximum security prisons.
There's a couple of related points.
Very quickly.
Military tribunals is a mistake. To turn this into a war, I think, sends the wrong message. But there's a way, finally, to tie together all of these threads. The Obama administration is desperately trying to get rid of these people from Guantanamo and trying to do deals with third countries, including European countries, to take these individuals. Some of these countries, I think, are going to turn around to the Obama administration and say, look, we may be willing to do this, but you've got to get your own house in order. You've got to get to the bottom of what happened. You can't expect us to do the cleanup for you if you are not going to put the spotlight on the wrongdoing that happened in the past. And I think connections will increasingly be made on those issues.
Philipe Sands and Jane Mayer, I want to thank you very much for being with us. Philipe Sands is author of Torture Team, Jane Mayer, The Dark Side. Both books are now out in paperback. Democracy Now! Is produced by Mike Burke, Shruf Abdelkader, Aramate, Angela Kamet, Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar, Hani Massoud, Rabbi Karen. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks so much for joining us. This